Hello and welcome back to my channel. I wanted to show some information about Tepaphone. It's a magical death ray that was used back in the early 1800s or late 1800s. And this website is josephmax.wordpress.com, and it's Tepaphone, the magical death ray. So you can go look this up and have a look at what this is about. I do read Franz Barden's books, and I do have his book Frabato, and that's kind of where this is mentioned a little bit about this death ray. But let's go on to read this article. Tepaphone, the magical death ray, posted on September the 5th, 2010 by Joseph Max. Now, the Tepaphone, as you can see here, there's an image. It looks like it's from possibly a movie or something. But the Tepaphone has an interesting place in occult lore. It is supposedly the most powerful magical weapon ever created, a combination of weird science and black magic, capable of killing its target at any distance. A Tepaphone is essentially a magical death ray generator. It was most likely first introduced in the literature by Franz Barden in his autobiography, Frabato. As I mentioned, I do have this book, and I've read this because I do follow and practice Franz Barden's teachings. And I highly recommend everyone who is into occult knowledge go and order his books and begin his magical practice. Okay, continuing. He claimed the Freemasonic Order of the Golden Centurion, the FOGC, a black magic occult order in Germany, which actually had no connection to craft masonry, that was active from the mid-1800s until the Nazis came into power in the 1930s, tried to murder him with magic because he refused to join their lodge. Now, I did hear this story about him being held captive by the Nazis for 3 years, and he was held captive for his knowledge, and that would be in the Hermetic arts, which is also the Kabbalah and Jewish mysticism, and also into all of the teachings of India, these occult knowledge of mystical magical practice. It's truly just about yourself and knowing what abilities you have that are latent. But anyway, so he refused to join their lodge, and they attacked him with this machine. Barden, in fact, was briefly imprisoned by the Nazis for refusing to collaborate with their occult research. This is what I had heard, that they held him captive for 3 years for his knowledge. Okay, one of the secrets of the FOGC Lodge members lay in their ability to put anyone to sleep, wake him up, make him sick or healthy, and invigorate or kill him whenever they liked. The leading members of the lodge, however, had only acquired this knowledge by entering into a pact with a prince of demons. With their magical methods, they were able to influence any untrained person who had no way of discovering the source of the influences at work upon him. Now, this also reminds me of some of the technology that comes out of the chronoscope and chronovisor. Perhaps they're using crystalline technology again, but in an adverse way. And how were these powerful wizards able to accomplish this? By means of the piece of apparatus they called the Tepaphone. It was the lodge's most strictly guarded secret, a magical vibratory instrument which could emit fatal vibrations across any distance and constituted the deadliest weapon in the arsenal of the lodge. If the picture or mumia of any human being or animal were placed at the focal point of the Tepaphone's vibrations, both the astral and physical bodies of that entity would be affected. Substances of any kind could be destroyed by this instrument from any distance. Furthermore, it served as a wireless transmitter of energy, something modern science could only dream about. Any kind of thought could be transmitted by the Tepaphone as well. Finally, the device made it possible to cause nervous diseases and poisonings which puzzled the medical establishment. Typically, a picture or personal object was sufficient to establish contact with the intended victim. And remember, distance was of no consequence. This also reminds me, I've been wondering about the spontaneous combustion cases that used to be worldwide. that we heard about in the 70s and potentially the 80s, where people would spontaneously burn from the inside out. I was wondering if that technology, was being, basically people were being experimented on by what they have, um, as far as HARP and DARPA weapons, all these what they call space weapons. Well, space is not what we're told. Space means the space all around us. That is, seems it on its surface, it's seemingly empty space, but it actually connects us to all things. It's called the ether, and now they call it the quantum. But it just makes me wonder, is this machine, the Tepaphone, actually something that was used to cause spontaneous combustion, or was that part of the DARPA or CERN or all of the above? So anyway, continuing, Barden, aka Frabato, was of course able to survive the attack because he was such a mighty wizard himself, and he was protected by the Brothers of Light, or so the story goes. The Tepaphone is described as a framework holding multiple optic lenses mounted in front of a light source, and a separate section consisting of a flat holder surrounded by copper wire coils with a copper plate in the center, on which the light was projected. From this simple description and knowing what kind of technology was available at that time, the Tepaphone was probably a modified magic lantern, an early kind of slide projector that was used extensively by Masonic lodges in the 19th and earliest 20th centuries. The first versions had either a built-in coil or alcohol lamp with wick, or separate lamp was placed inside the box to provide a light source. Later versions used electric lamps and eventually evolved into the optical slide projectors of the late 20th century. One way to make the Tepaphone could have been simply winding the wire coil around the projection tube of the magic lantern, supposedly so that one end of the wire is in contact with the wick of the oil or alcohol lamp inside the magic lantern case, and placing a copper plate in position so that the projected light could strike it. The entire apparatus could have been mounted on a single frame or platform. The witness of the target, the photo, hair, or other tissue sample, was placed against the copper plate, and various colors were projected on it, while the operator and assistants conducted a ritual to curse the targeted individual. It's possible that sigils or other drawn images were also used for projection, since the glass slides used in magic lanterns could be and often were painted by hand. The Tepaphone was also supposedly used by the Brotherhood of Saturn, the Fraternitas Saturni, or FS, an offshoot of the early OTO, or Order Templi Orientis in Germany. A former member of the FS, Master Daniel Guido Walther, wrote an article in the early 1960s that confirms some of Barden's account. Also mentioned is an occult group called the Order of the Metallic Builders. What a great name. Raymond Holder, in his book, The Antichrist Training Manual, describes a method in building a Tepaphone that he claims is authentic. His description includes using ethyl alcohol as the fuel for the lamp, into which are infused certain appropriate ingredients to make a magical fluid condenser, and covering the copper projection tube with lead. Searching the web for Tepaphone shows that the term has taken on a more generic meaning in later years, so that any device designed to transmit deadly emanations to a selected target is called a Tepaphone. What are the implications of the Tepaphone or any similar radionic-like device, which is significantly designed as a weapon? What if someone succeeds in building such a device and can make it work? John W. Campbell, editor of Astounding Magazine and an early proponent of Dr. Hieronymus's radionic machines, discussed the subject in a series of personal correspondences between two of them. Campbell is credited with coining the term psionic and popularizing radionics. Regarding the implications of Hieronymus's claims of success in killing agricultural pests remotely, an experiment that was followed and verified by the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture, Campbell wrote, "True, you're attacking only insects. You're helping human beings, but the inherent implications are there and cannot be denied. You cannot tell me how to defend myself against such an attack. If I acknowledge the reality of those forces, I acknowledge that I am helpless and know of no defense. You're scaring the hell out of people who understand what you've got. You may be using it well, but release it and what limits it. If a magician can destroy a man tracelessly, who would be safe from threat, from ransom demand, from the vengeful hate of an unjust enemy? You can name no limits in this powerful technique. It would seem, though, that the Tepaphone is not something easy to make and or easy to make work. Otherwise, there would be hundreds or thousands of them out there, and magical assassination would be commonplace. Obviously, making such a device work, like making any radionics device work, is very dependent on the skill of the operator. And hopefully, anyone with the requisite skill and discipline has better things to do than go about assaulting people by remote control. Yes, these types of devices absolutely are real. And again, when you delve into the world of occult knowledge and all of these things that are hidden from us for so long, time doesn't truly exist, is what you discover. And space is not what we're told. And all of these things that are out here, our souls are timeless. And if time doesn't exist, that means that everything is all in one moment. And also the chronoscope and chronovisor and Delaware camera, which were absolutely real and were used with the crystal technology. You know, what are the other possibilities of these devices? Because I've looked into radionics as well, and I encourage others to also educate themselves on radionics, because holographic images can also be a benefit to the body based on this radionics technology that people have discovered. You know, all of these things are out here. And if we take back our power among the masses here, you know, the populace of the planet, if we take back the power, what can we achieve to benefit mankind with such instruments as this, instead of using it to harm others? Because you will absolutely reap what you sow. You know, there are laws, universal laws in place that most people are not even aware of. And the law of cause and effect is absolutely a law that is absolute in its efforts. You know, whatever you put out is what you get back. And when you're putting out negative frequencies and negative harmful energies towards others, you will absolutely reap what you sow. And this is what I teach, you know, when I teach people about the crystal technology, because obviously we're going into an epoch, a new era where our minds are the most powerful devices that we can actually achieve, you know, but we have never been taught any of the activities of the mind, what we actually can do. And it's coming back to us, all this knowledge. And when it does, and we learn to stand in our power with love and honor of our brothers and sisters, then we can create the beautiful world we want to see. But they do not want us to know this power, but it's coming and they can't stop it. And that's what scares them the most, is that they're about to lose their control over us. And these devices are out here waiting for us to discover what we can do to actually benefit mankind. And there will be ways that they can trace anyone who is using any sort of magical practice or otherwise, because this is not really magic, you guys. Magic was never what we were told to believe. Magic is our own innate capabilities, and they don't want us to know it. And that's why they set up the church, the Kirk, you know, to really destroy the idea of us being very powerful creator beings, because it's our mind that creates our reality, and we create our reality together. And they don't want us to know this. That's why they subvert it with Hollywood. They wanted to create the world that they wish to see, which is their pedophile world. of, just absolute chaos and confusion and a distortion of the reality. But it's our time to shine. And what will you do with your mind? Because your mind is waiting for you. Your mind is waiting to achieve greatness. But what are you filling it with? What do you feed your mind? Do you feed it nonsense? Or do you feed it education? Something that it can chew on, something to create ideas, to generate help for others, different ways to benefit man in all of his aspects, all of creation. What are we doing? We got to get back to basics. We're going on this journey, whether we like it or not. And all of this technology is about to come out to the population that's going to free us from our slavery. But where are we going in our morals, in our values, in our honor, our integrity? We have to come back to the basics and stand in our own presence and to learn how to do the introspection, because the introspection is the only way that we can move forward as a species, because we have been so abused and subverted. And we need to achieve greatness instead of being out here floundering in ignorance and bathing in nonsense. The stuff that they've taught us is absolute nonsense. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm after this kind of stuff, the real knowledge, the real meat and potatoes of the world, of what my body and mind can do absolutely in this existence, because we are so much more powerful. Well, keep searching, guys. I just wanted to put this out there just to show you guys what's out here. Once you start looking, things are being discovered all over the place. Let's share them. Continue to put your information out. And we'll see you on the next round. Subscribe, like, and share, and I'll see you soon.